Deputy Mattie McGrath, 30 seconds to introduce his question.
Go ahead, Minister. There's huge concern, Minister, and more awareness now out there as to the amount of huge funding that's paid by government departments to outside firms. And I speak here in relation to PricewaterhouseCoopers. And I'm asking you to tell me from 2015 to 18 and to date in 19, if you make a statement on the matter, how much that company has received from your department. And there's huge anxiety around this issue.
To respond.
The Department has engaged PricewaterhouseCoopers on one occasion between 2015 and including today's date in 2019. The total cost of this engagement was €73,031. The purpose of the engagement was to carry out a money laundering and terrorist financing national risk assessment. The aim of this assessment was to identify, understand and assess the money laundering and terrorist financing risks faced by Ireland. The findings of the National Risk Assessment have been used to inform the development and enhancement of our anti-money laundering and counter-terrorist financing framework. My department publishes details of our consultancy expenditure on our website every quarter.
Deputy has 1 minute.
The last year, before any of the recent fast relation to National Children's Hospital came to full public prominence, I submitted a PQ on this issue to you and your other department, Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. I was genuinely surprised to find that in 1 year alone, in 2018, the department spent £3.5 million on consultancy firms. PwC, as you said, received 44,500, and now you're telling me 73,000. So this is a disparity in getting the right answers to PQs. You said now 73. This question says 44, and it was described as for what your department called operations support and strategic advisory consultancy. Will you accept, Minister, that when the public hears these kind of sums being thrown around for private consulting firms, it does nothing to persuade people that any meaning of value or money review takes place at all? Will you also explain why there appears to be a massive amount of overlap, in terms of works being carried out by different consultancy firms? In case people think I'm picking on PwC, I'm not. For example, last year, DPR paid Gartner 182,000 for advisory services, but it also paid Horizon Energy €230,000. So, I mean, what's all the money for? What are you getting for it?
I don't think the Deputy even listened to my answer last Count Corla. I stood up and said, we've employed this company once between 2015 and today. On a single occasion, this company has been employed for us. And instead, what the Deputy just does you stand up, you base an answer on what you would like to hear, as opposed to what I have actually informed the Deputy of. This company, across the time period that the Deputy asked me to refer to, has been used on a single occasion by my department. And the Deputy will stand up day after day and lambast the ability and the competence of my own officials to perform their work. And then when they seek to gain external support in the delivery of their duties, he lambasts that too. To repeat to the Deputy my answer, which you either ignored or chose not to hear a moment ago, this company has been employed on a single occasion by my department in the time period that you asked of.
Thank you, Minister.
You're the one who's lambasting, Minister. You're paying all these external, and you said your own departments are not able to do it. So none of you can do it. Can you not add 45,000? You told me 44,500. You told me in the PQ last year. Now you're saying 73,000, some hundreds. I don't know what exactly you said. So to me, there's 30,000 of this parish. So who's cutting who? And you spin doctors to everything else. I'm not changing, I'm not looking for any answer. I'm asking you the facts. I'm quoting from a PQ that I have here. So we have too many, and we've overlap. You're not explaining the overlap with all the different companies I named there. Overlap, a multitude of departments. So, I mean, Minister, the public are watching this and scrutinising. Thankfully, they're able to. Will you also indicate in your reply if PwC have played any other consultancy roles with respect to the Children's Hospital outside the review currently underway, which is, you're saying 450,000. They've been engaged to do that while you didn't do that in your answer, and I'm sure the price has been agreed, or now the terms of reference have been extended, will it be increased? And they have no expertise in construction, or what we want to find out here. This is all papering over, and to the other one is lambasting and covering up, and spin doctors and everything else.
See, when the Deputy doesn't like what I say to him, he then makes up what he thinks I said and use that for the basis of his answer. At what point did I lambast the competency of my own officials in the answer that I gave to the Deputy? I made the point that he's the one that does it. And then when there are areas that we do need specialist help in, we then do have to go and acquire that help at the best value that is available to us. I repeat again what I said to the Deputy, and I know he's disappointed in the answer that I gave him, that this is a company that we have employed once. I've told the Deputy what the cost of it was. If there is a discrepancy between the answer that we gave in the past and the answer that I'm giving now, the discrepancy could be driven by two different things. It could be driven by the time period against which this answer is referring to, as opposed to the one the Deputy has raised there, or it might be the fact that the Deputy is referring to another government department. But either way, if there is a gap between the answers, I'll reconcile them and I'll supply the information to the House.
Final relevant supplementary.
I mean, there is a gap, 44,500 and 73. I didn't get what you said, 73,000 some hundred. So, of course there's a gap. And it's a lot of money to ordinary Joe Soaps. Might be to you or to your plethora of advisors and your competent officials. I didn't say they were incompetent, but I'm saying you have outside agencies and you have the officials. And you're giving me sums here now that are alarming, because I have you said they only applied them once. Now, if you said they applied them twice, maybe you would have room for wriggle room. But once you said in that period, and you said quoted a figure of 73,000, I have a figure of 44. That is real money to ordinary taxpayers. And this is what's going on with your flippant answers and your spin doctors that you have out there trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. We want transparency. We want openness. We want accountability, which is not a shred of it in your department. And that's been blatantly proven over and over again, but now more exceptionally with the Children's Hospital fiasco. So that's all I'm asking. I'm not here to lambast people. I'm here for the truth. I'm here representing the people of Tipperary and the ordinary people out there all over the country who are struggling every day to pay their taxes. And you can spend money like confetti at a wedding or snuff at a wake, and it's all right, blow it off. I just come from a business committee meeting where we're featuring to have time next week scheduled to debate revised estimates, thanks to this mess out in the black hole that is out in the Children's Hospital. So I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm looking for straight answers off you, and I'm not getting them.
Minister Donohoe.
You rarely stand up without making an accusation against somebody. Deputy, what department does that refer to? What department? Answer the question. What department? Am I correct to say that's the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform? Am I correct to say, Deputy, it's the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform?
This question refers
well, look,
to
I think
finance.
even this brief exchange might provide a reason for the two different figures. The fact that you could be referring to another government department as opposed to the Department of Finance. But what I will do, Deputy, because unlike the Deputy, with his references to confetti, to snuff, I also represent ordinary people. I also serve them. I'm aware of the concerns that they have in relation to the use of taxpayers' money, and I'm aware of the concerns they have at the moment. As I said, the Deputy will be disappointed to hear that this is a company that's only been employed once by us for very good work that needed to be done. And if there's any difference between the figures that I've shared with the Deputy in the past and these figures now, I will explain it to the House. And I thank the Deputy for bringing it to my attention, even though I suspect he might be talking about another government department.